Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome back. In the previous session we were discussing about how to cultivate a devotional process. So there are 9 different processes, starting with the easiest one, which is Shravana, means hearing about Krishna, and then Kirtanam means chanting or glorifying the Lord. Vishnu Smaranam is after hearing and chanting, you remember the Lord. So that is remembering, Vishnu Smaranam. And then you engage in service of the Lord, that is serving the lotus feet of the Lord, Pada Sevanam. And then you perform deity worship, which is Archanam, and offering prayers to the Lord, that is Vandanam. And then having some kind of relationship with the Lord, that is executing orders of the Lord, that can be done in different rasas. So one is dasyam, other one is sakyam. Sakyam means friendship. Dasyam means servant, being a servant of the Lord. For example, Lord Rama had a great servant whom everybody respects and praise, and that is Hanumanji. So he was in the Dasya Ras. He was serving the Lord 24/7. And then finally means complete surrender is Atma Nivedanam. And on this right side we see the devotees who have perfected their life by following each of the process. Then in Bhagavad it is given, Srimad Bhagavatam it is given that Maharaj Ambrish used to do all of them, all the 9 processes. And we discussed that he used to visit the temple, serve the deities, pay obeisances, think about the Lord, speak about the Lord, engage his hands. So he is using all his senses to serve the Lord. So this is given in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 4, verse 18 to 20. So this is the activities of Maharaj Parikshit. He was the king of the world actually. Though he was in that position, he was completely dedicated to serve the Lord in this way. And everything in his kingdom was going on by the energies of the Lord. And they were going on very well actually. The citizens of Maharaj Ambrish were very, very happy. So this service was possible by one thing, which is the desire. So desire to serve the Lord 24/7, that was in the heart of Maharaj Ambrish. He wanted to serve the Lord. So once we cultivate that desire, then we can engage, our senses will follow. So in the previous sessions we saw that, right? How we work. We work using our senses, body and senses. Of course, that is controlled by mind and intelligence. So desire and desiring to serve is actually generated in the mind. And using our intelligence, we understand about our relationship with the Lord, and then we want to engage in service of the Lord. So when someone desires, then all the senses will follow, and that is what Maharaj Ambrish is actually showing by his example. Then we further studied that, how to cultivate this devotional service, and that is Krishna's recommendation is Abhyasa Yoga Yuktena, means you meditate upon, you practice and you meditate upon the Lord using your mind. So mind must be constantly engaged in remembering me. And when the mind is fixed on Krishna, then, and it is undeviated from Krishna, then Krishna is saying that Arjuna, then the person is sure to reach me. That person will definitely come to my abode. Where is Krishna's abode? So when we look at this diagram, so here is Krishna's abode, which is Goloka Vrindavan. Or if somebody desires, they can go to either to the Vaikuntha planet or Ayodhya or wherever they desire to go and serve the Lord eternally. So as we have understood this diagram many times, we are in this universe, in the material universe, going through the cycle of birth and death. And the spiritual life, or the books, or reading Bhagavad Gita, helps us to cultivate the desire to go back to Godhead. So Prabhupada, he had a magazine, his magazine name is back to Godhead. Means originally we were in the Vaikuntha and then we came here. Now we are preparing ourselves to go back to Godhead. This is only possible in the human form of life because we have intelligence. Using intelligence, we study all these books very systematically in details. We study this book and then we prepare ourselves to go back to Godhead, go to the Vaikuntha Loka, where we engage with Krishna. Basically, we are serving there Krishna, eternally. There is no birth, there is no death, there is no old age, there is no disease in the spiritual world. And these are actually the issues which are in the material world, which is the reason Krishna calls this material world as Dukkhalayam. Dukkhalayam means a place of misery. So it is a choice the living entity has. The choice is whether we stick here or we want to go back. So that choice each of us will have to make. And that is a free will. Krishna gives us a free will. Once we decide we want to go back, then we become serious and then we want to engage in service. How that should be done? So Prabhupada says that must be done under a spiritual master. Actually, there is scriptures which says this message that it has to be done under the guidance of a spiritual master. So this is a verse. MU means Manduka Upanishad 1.2.12. So like Gita is a Gita Upanishad. Yeah, Krishna spoke this. So there is another Upanishad called as Manduka Upanishad. In that Manduka Upanishad they say Tad Vijnanartham Sa Gurumeva Abhigachet. One must approach a person who is already in this practice. So if we want to learn these techniques, then we have to approach a spiritual master. Like in this material world, if we have to study something, then you have to go to college to study it. So we learn under a teacher. Similarly, the spiritual knowledge is also received in parampara through a teacher, bona fide teacher, coming in a disciplic succession, or an authorized disciplic succession. So these 4 parampara which we discussed in the earlier sessions, right? One is Brahma, Madhava, Gaudiya Sampradaya. Other one is Sri Sampradaya. Then third one was Shiva, started by Lord Shiva, Rudra Sampradaya. And fourth one was Kumara Sampradaya. So these are the authorized schools or universities which are started by the Lord himself. So he designates a person who becomes the chief of that university. Right? So in our case, we are following the Brahma Madhava Gaudiya Sampradaya. So we are from that Sampradaya. ISKCON is from that Sampradaya. So we are taught, in fact all the Sampradayas, they teach the same thing, that the knowledge needs to be received in parampara. Otherwise what happens? People will do interpretation of this message and that will destroy everything. So one must practice under a bona fide guru. Bona fide means one who is coming from the parampara. So the last time we saw that the mind is always flying to this and that. Basically it moves here and there. It's restless. And one thus meditate upon Paramam Purusham, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the spiritual kingdom, the spiritual sky, and thus attains him. So this is the solution. How to go back to Godhead? Remember Krishna at the time of death. That's the answer. So you have to remember Krishna at the time of death. How is that possible? That is only possible if we remember here when we are in difficulties, when we are doing our daily activities. In that time, if we practice remembering Krishna, then it is possible, there is a chance that we may be able to remember Krishna at the time of death. And let's say we do not we are not, if we miss the chance, let's say we miss the chance, what happens? So Krishna says in the 6th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, he says that I give them another opportunity. I give them a human life. I give them birth in a very aristocratic family where they don't have to worry about their money, and then they can start their journey again from where they left. So we are protected by that way. Krishna is there for our protection. the ways and the means of ultimate realization, ultimate attainment are stated in the Bhagavad Gita. And the doors of this knowledge are open for everyone. Anybody can take this path. If you see the example in Ramayana, Lord Ram is so merciful, he even engages the animals from, the squirrels we can see, the monkeys, the bears. They are all devotees of Lord actually. So how merciful is Lord? It doesn't matter in what class of society we have taken birth. So, but if we are sincere enough to serve the Lord accepts our service. So that is the beauty of this process. You don't have to be like really qualified spiritually or materially. So there is actually no qualification required for the process of bhakti. Right? The only qualification is our desire to do it. No one is bared out. All class of men can approach the Lord Krishna by thinking of Him. For hearing and thinking of Him is possible for everyone. This is possible for everyone. All the human beings. Definitely even in animal class also, we'll see some of the animals are interested and they hear also. They may not, we don't know whether they understand or not, but we have seen there are cases in history where the animals also participating in the process of hearing actually. Continuing further, the Lord further says in Bhagavad Gita 9th chapter 32nd and 33rd verse. So he's saying that excuse me, the Lord says that even a merchant or a fallen woman or a laborer or even a human being in the lowest status of life can attain the Supreme. He's saying, Mam hi partha vipasitaha yepi se papya yoneha striyo vaishya tatha shudras tepi yanti param gatim. So anybody can participate. Doesn't matter, One does not need highly developed intelligence. One only needs faith and love, faith in the words of Lord. If a person has a high intelligence, the chances are they start thinking through your logic. And once some of these things, not some, many of the things in spiritual life is beyond our logic and our experience. So faith comes in picture over here. If we accept the words of the Lord by faith, then there is a possibility that we get the mercy. And then everything is revealed actually. One does not need highly developed intelligence. The point is that anyone who accepts principles of Bhakti Yoga and accept the Supreme Lord as the summum bonum of life, or we accept the Lord as absolute truth. Absolute truth means there is nothing beyond Him. So that is the summum bonum. As the highest target, the ultimate goal, can approach the Lord in the spiritual sky. So this is what acceptance of the position of Krishna is required. So in this spiritual life, this is very, very critical. We have to accept the Lord's superior position and accept Him as the Supreme Lord, source of everything, creator, maintainer, proprietor, enjoyer. So when we see the Lord through that lens and understand his message by reading Bhagavad Gita seriously, then we can easily approach the spiritual sky. Then there is no problem, because then we get Krishna's mercy. Because this science actually is based on our efforts, but mostly it is mercy of Krishna. It is mostly mercy of Krishna. So this presentation shows how to cultivate devotional service under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. And you must approach a spiritual master, and mind has to be focused on Supreme Personality Godhead. And this is the way to self-realization. It is open to everyone. There is no restriction. Then Prabhupada talks about the essence of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. If one adopts the principle enunciated in Bhagavad Gita, he can make his life perfect and make a permanent solution to all the problems of life. Right? So if we adopt the principles which are given by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita without interpretation, it's not, that is the difficulty. We generally try to interpret based on our understanding. And that's why we need to read the Shastra in a disciplic succession, or from someone who is in the disciplic succession. They do not interpret. Right? Krishna says, Sarva Dharman Parityaja. So Krishna says in 18 chapter 66 verse. So it's very clear that give up all varieties of sarva. Sarva means all varieties. Give up all. Parityaja means give up. So Krishna is saying sarva dharman parityaja means what? Means he's simply saying give up all what I have said earlier, or a kind of religious principle. And then he's saying mam ekam sharanam vraja. You just surrender mam ekam, me alone. Right? Surrender to me alone. So if we try to interpret, sarva means this, parityaja means this, mam means this, ekam means this. No, if we interpret, then it becomes difficult. So whatever as Krishna said, we accept those words as it is. Sometimes it happens that, we may not be able to follow what Krishna is saying. But that is our limitations. And we accept that, okay, at this point of time, I'm not able to follow. And that is fine. So eventually, we will be able to practice what Krishna is saying. But if we reject the message that no, this is wrong, what Krishna is saying is wrong. So then that way we will not be able to get the full benefit. So what will happen if one adopts the principle enunciated in Bhagavad Gita? Then what happens? He can make his life perfect. He can make his life perfect and make permanent solution to all the problems of life. So what are all the problems of life? So that is given in Bhagavad Gita. Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, death, old age and disease. And then there are three tapatrayas, three other things. Adhyatmika, Adibhautika and Adidevika. Adhyatmika means misery is caused by my own body and mind. And then Adibhautika is misery is caused by other living entities. And then the third is Adidevika means misery is caused by the devatas, like some flood or earthquake or whatever, heavy rains or tornadoes. So these are actually the problems of life: birth, death, old age and disease. We work really hard to collect everything in this life, and at the end of the life we have to give up everything. Everything is snatched away. So these are the problems which all of us are facing. Doesn't matter in which country we are, how rich we are. It doesn't matter. Everybody has to go through this. And nobody wants it. But they are forced to go through this. So this is the real problems of life. Right? Some problems, a lot of times, there is a set of problems somebody is facing, but that becomes an advantage to somebody else. So one person may be unhappy, other person becomes happy. For example, somebody falls sick, then they are unhappy, but the doctor is happy because he's making money. Or if your car is broken, so you are unhappy, but the mechanic is happy because he is making money. So happiness is also very relative. It's a very relative thing. But these four things, Janma, Mrityu, Jara, Vyadhi, means birth. Birth we experience it, but we forget. As soon as we come out, we forget about how painful is the birth. But the mother knows how much painful it is because she has to give birth. So birth is a problem according to our scriptures. Death we know, that we don't want to die. Nobody wants to die. Old age, somebody who is young, for them old age doesn't look like a problem. But when they become old, then they will experience themselves how old age is a problem. Every part of the body is aching. So many difficulties. Can't walk, can't eat, joint pain, this pain, that pain. So old age and disease. And so disease, yes, currently all this COVID is going on. But, previously there were different kind of disease. So these are the real problems of life. And nobody wants it. Everybody has to go through it. So Krishna is giving solution in Bhagavad Gita. The choice is ours, The choice always, Krishna says, even after the entire Bhagavad Gita was spoken. So all the 18 chapters. Towards the end, Krishna actually tells this to Arjuna. So Arjuna, I have whatever message I had to give, I have given you. Did you understand? All your doubts? Is it clear? If not, I am ready to repeat it. So, and then Krishna says that do whatever you like. So he gave the choice to Arjuna. So Arjuna says, no, my illusions are clear. Now I am in perfect condition. My mind is completely clear because it was clouded with all this illusion, and I am ready to do whatever you say. Right? Do whatever you will tell me to do, because you are the Supreme Lord. I am just executor of your commands. Right? So karishye vachanam tava. This is the word Arjuna is saying. Karishye means I'll do. Vachanam means whatever you say. Tava means whatever you are saying, I am going to do it. So the principles which are given in Bhagavad Gita, one has to adopt that in the life. Means one has to practice it, do it actually. Whatever is suggested, one has to do it in the life. So this is the sum and substance of the entire Bhagavad Gita. So this is what Prabhupada says. That is the essence of the whole thing. That one has to adopt the principles, and one can actually perfect their life by just following those principles which are given in Bhagavad Gita. And if we do not do, then it is up to us. So Krishna doesn't force anybody. This is a free will the living entity has. Love cannot be obtained by force. Love is somebody's choice. And love means it has to be expressed in service. When you say I love you, or you repeat the word I love you, but you do not do anything for that person. So that is just a verbal thing. It doesn't make any sense. Love means you do something for them, you sacrifice, and you take troubles. You go through the troubles to love that person and do something for that person. That is love. So that is why Bhakti, Prabhupada translated Bhakti as devotional service. He didn't translate Bhakti as devotion. He's saying devotion plus service. Means you love plus you express your love by doing something for Krishna in this world. Now what do we do for Krishna? Whatever you are doing, Krishna is saying, yad karosi, yad asnasi, yad judosi, dadasi, yad tapasyasi kaunteya, tat kurutsva mad arpanam. Means whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you are doing actually, you offer that to me with love. You offer that to Krishna with love. And when you offer that to Krishna with love, Krishna will accept. He says, I take it, I accept it. Now, the next part in the introduction is benefits of studying Bhagavad Gita. So now the section comes, we are almost towards the end of introduction, and Prabhupada discusses the benefits of Gita and the Gita Mahatmaya. So benefits of Gita is studying. What is the benefit of studying Gita? In conclusion, Bhagavad Gita is a transcendental literature which one should read very carefully. So this is what Prabhupada also mentioned in his lecture, that one should know the Gita inside out. Meaning, we should very carefully read it, systematically study. So my attempt over here is to systematically study line by line and give my thoughts on it. But there are, you can listen to more experienced preachers who have experience and who has more practical experience than what I have, and then you can learn more from them. So it's not like that you just learned once and it's done. No, we continuously hear all the time, and then we hear from other devotees, and because of their sadhana and practices, their knowledge is very pure, and you hear from them, and then we imbibe that. So this is called as borrowed intelligence. Borrowed intelligence means I have certain intelligence, but there are devotees or people who are practicing bhakti have more intelligence because of their practices. So we learn from them, right? We learn from them, and then we apply the principles which we learn from them in our life. So this is a continuous process. You cannot say, oh, I have read it once, done. Shut down the book and go. No, it is not like that. Spiritual life, the reading or studying has to be nityam. So in Srimad Bhagavatam it says nityam bhagavata sevaya. Nityam bhagavata sevaya means you serve the Bhagavat. There are two kind of Bhagavat. One is book Bhagavat, and the other is a devotee Bhagavat. So we have to serve both. Serve the person Bhagavat as well as serve the book Bhagavat. So one should read very carefully. So while reading, how to read, we will have one session, how to study Bhagavad Gita. But in essence, we sincerely take out time from our day and then, read the book carefully, try to meditate upon it, what this message is. Maybe we read like even 5 lines, doesn't matter, 5-10 lines, whatever is possible. In your phone, in your whatever devices which you have, download the classes, download these books, or if there is internet, there is vedabase.com. We can go online and read it also. So we have to cultivate this habit of reading. It's not like just heard once and that's done. It's a continuous process. And when we show interest, then Krishna sitting in our heart, he starts revealing more and more. He starts guiding us, do this, do that, it start directing us how to proceed. So this is the interesting thing. But we have to show interest. If we don't show interest, then, Krishna will say, okay, I'll not bother this guy. Let him be on their own. So here it says, the Gita Shastramidam Punyam Yah Pathet Prayatah Puman. If one properly follows the instruction of Bhagavad Gita, one can be freed from all miseries and anxieties of the life, and one's next life will be spiritual. So there's a benefit in this life, because when we read this, we become very, very peaceful, because currently if we are without the education of Bhagavad Gita and with the education of Bhagavad Gita, the difference is that after understanding Bhagavad Gita, we know that there is the Supreme Lord Krishna. He is my Supreme Father. So now I am dependent on my Supreme Father. So like a child, when the child is dependent on the parent, the child becomes careless or carefree. He doesn't have to worry about things. He doesn't have to worry about his food. He doesn't have to worry about his clothing or his education. Everything is taken care by the parent. So he is in his own world enjoying. So similarly, when we become Sanat means there is somebody to protect me. That is Sanat. Anat means there is nobody to protect me. So in the material world, our situation without Krishna is Anat. With Krishna, it is Sanat. And that protection of Krishna is such a big thing. It makes such a big impact in our life that we always feel protected. And we become actually fearless, because we know that there is somebody behind me who is going to protect me. So similarly, the child is fearless because he knows the parents is going to protect. And for us, for the devotees, we know Krishna is definitely going to protect. That's the faith. As we practice, our faith gradually keeps on increasing. And then what happens? Continuing, Srila Prabhupada is saying, Vishnu Padam avapnoti bhaya sokadi varjitaha. So one can completely become free from bhaya and shoka. The bhaya, all the miseries, or the anxiety, and shoka is the misery, and bhaya is the anxieties of the life. What is going to be happening in my life? What is going to happen to my family? This, that, there are so many worries. And The definition of Vaikuntha, Vai means no, Kuntha means anxiety. So if we took a look at this picture, this region is called as Vaikuntha, means there is no Kuntha. What is Kuntha? Kuntha means anxiety. So there is no anxiety in this world. That means there is full of anxiety in this world. In the material world, there is full of anxiety. So as long as we are in this world, and as long as we don't understand our relationship with Krishna, we will be full of anxiety, full of fear. Though we may not show it, but this anxiety will be there in our life. It will dominate our life. So by studying Gita, what happens is that our anxiety, our fear, our miseries, these things immediately go away, because we feel protection of Krishna. We feel shelter of Krishna. And the next section is about Gita Mahatmya. So we'll stop here and we'll start our discussion in the next session from Gita Mahatmya. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Gaur Premanande Haribol.